welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for the Turntail Wolf, and with me today, the Big Bad Wolf returns, Matt Hunter. Say hi.
Hi there.
Hi there. I love that voice that Mel Blanc does in this short, which I'm sure we'll get to very shortly. As mentioned, this is for the Turntail Wolf, released on the 24th of May 1952. It's the 653rd in the series, and it's directed by Bob McKimson. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 5 DVD set. There is a HD version out there. Hopefully they'll one day come to disc. I can't show you the full thing here due to copyright on YouTube, but Matt, what happens in this short?
Well, this is one of many adaptations of The Three Little Pigs, which is maybe one of the most copied and adapted folk stories in all of animation. Of course, the most famous was Disney's, but this one is a twist on it because it's the Big Bad Wolf telling his side of the story. That's been done before too, but in this case it's a little unique. The wolf's nephew comes to his house and he's mad because he's learned in school about the story of the Three Little Pigs, and he can't believe his uncle would be so awful as to do that to those poor pigs. And Uncle has a story explaining himself.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens, and then we see a nice little twist at the end, which we'll certainly discuss as we go along. But a few bits of trivia. As you've already mentioned, that yes, this has been done before, and if you've seen the Friz Freleng short, The Trial of Mr. Wolf, a similar thing happens where the wolf tells his side of the story, and of course it's very, very one-sided. It's all about him being completely innocent, dressed, I suppose, like an innocent babe.
Yeah, but it's a jury of all wolves against Little Red Riding Hood, and ultimately it kind of ends in a cop-out because the wolf in the Freleng cartoon, I think he says, well, if that isn't true, I hope I'm hit by a streetcar. And
he does.
He gets hit by a streetcar out of nowhere, but this was a little different.
Exactly, and he's pleading his case to his nephew as opposed to a courtroom. And with the Three Little Pigs, we see them again in the same designs as from the Windblown Hair, but they use different voices here, which are done by Mel Blanc again. But yeah, they sound different, but they're pretty much the same sort of character anyway.
Yeah, they're still, like, whether you believe the wolf story or not, they're still obnoxious. They're just as obnoxious as they were in the Windblown Hair. Like, they're probably some of the most obnoxious characters ever committed to Looney Tunes. They are bad dudes.
Exactly. They're bad little pigs. There you are.
Yes, yes.
But one very interesting trivia point, and I was having a look at Keith Scott's wonderful Cartoon Voices book, because I always like to look into that now before I do these reviews, and one interesting point that he brings up is that there was a song called King for a Day that was sung by Treg Brown, who is the editor of these Looney Tunes, and Mel Blanc, and it ended up not being used. I reached out to Keith and I asked if maybe it was repurposed for a record or maybe another short or whatever, right? Apparently it wasn't repurposed for anything, it was just left on the cutting room floor. Hopefully it'll show up one day, but given the nature of it, it's probably lost the time, unfortunately.
And you could tell where something like that would have been used. There's a gag where the pigs rig up a guillotine to look like a throne. And they say, oh, give the crown to the wolf. And they tell him, oh, you get to be king. And I think that would have happened in that sequence. But if he had put a song in there, it would have just killed the momentum of the cartoon.
Definitely. I was rewatching it again just to refresh my memory, because I've seen this one a few times already. And yeah, having a musical number in this would have definitely killed the timing and the momentum, so McKimson was definitely right to eliminate that from this short, but it would have been nice if we could hear it as a deleted scene or something, but again, I think it's just lost the time, which is an absolute shame.
Yeah.
You picked to do this one with me. What do you think of this short in general?
Well, I think it's interesting. I don't think it's the best cartoon of this year, the 1952 cartoons. It's just an amazing period. But I just like the whole thing, and particularly the character, the Big Bad Wolf, a.k.a. Uncle Big Bad. This was the first appearance of Uncle Big Bad, who would not appear again until maybe 10 or 15 years later in these later Bugs Bunny cartoons. There were two of them right toward the end of the Bugs Bunny run, where these characters, the wolf and his nephew, come back. They're slightly redesigned, but they're the same characters, and they go after Bugs Bunny. I also love the title pun on this one. I gotta give kudos to Ted Pierce, I'm sure, who was the writer of this cartoon, probably came up with it, but the Turntail Wolf. as in turn tail, as in to change your story, as in to lie. But then there's also the phrase turn tail and run, like if you're a coward. And the difference between T-A-L-E and T-A-I-L, because the pigs are looking to chop off the wolf's tail. I think that's brilliant. I also really like the gag where, is his story true or isn't it? And then the wolf, at the very end, he says, well, of course, we know I lost it in a swinging door.
Of course, we know I lost it in the swinging door.
But with the obnoxious pigs and all that, you do kind of wonder. It's kind of an up-in-the-air kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But
It would have been interesting if McKimson did a little follow-up short getting the pig side of things of that same event, and that would have been an interesting thing, but then the short would be way too long. But I watched this one, as I said, I've seen it a few times, and I think this is a nice little charming little gem, and I agree with you, it's not exactly the best of 1952, but it's certainly watchable, and I think it's fun. I think it's really nice, especially having those obnoxious pigs who... Shame that didn't use those characters again. They were only in 2 shorts.
Yeah, I think that's enough. I think their 2 appearances is enough, because again, they are obnoxious. But I also really like the animation in the opening scenes where the little wolf is coming to his uncle and berating him for what he read in the storybook. And not only the animation, but also the backgrounds, Richard Thomas's backgrounds, where he puts in, looks like stylized nudie drawings. And there's also a moonshine still that the wolf tries to put behind a curtain real quick before the kid comes in the door.
Yeah.
And I just like that element. And also, if you pay attention to it, we don't ever see the wolf's tail in that opening scene. So when he's telling his story, he has his tail, but in the opening scene, he's just wearing pants, so you wouldn't know either way. And then at the very end, with a big reveal, then you say, oh, okay. But then if you go back, it's a nice tie-in. It's a nice connective bit.
Yeah, exactly. I had to go back and go, did they actually do it? Because sometimes they would forget to have everything all consistent, especially in the really earlier shorts of like the 1930s and that sort of thing. But it was good to see that they knew that they had to not animate a tail in the very beginning and actually keep it ambiguous, like they, it's just maybe in his pants or maybe it was cut off. I don't know, but
yeah,
I thought it was pretty good.
We were talking about the censorship for TV.
Yes.
And when I first saw it, I think it was on Nickelodeon, and I don't remember them cutting anything, but I know I've read on various forums and places where they talk about what was cut on certain stations, because this was one that was aired on multiple TV channels over the years. The number one thing that was cut was one of the pigs at one point tells the wolf, blow your brains out.
Why? Go blow your brains out.
That was like, whoa, we can't say that on a kid's show.
I wonder why.
Yeah. And then there's a bit where, again, with the moonshine still, I think they edited that out at one point on one of the channels because that was, my gosh, we can't show bootlegging alcohol on a kid's show. And all these shows were, of course, shown on kids' shows aimed at kids, and they're like, that's probably not appropriate. But that's all I know of in terms of what was cut, but...
Definitely. And yet, no one seems to have noticed that semi-nude pictures that are, as you mentioned to me before, that are abstract enough, I think.
Yeah, abstract enough, and then before they came out with an HD remastered version, who would have noticed that? Some of those backgrounds, that's what's amazing to me about the restored versions that started coming out with the Golden Collections and even in standard def DVD, and then now they've amped them up even more with the HD. It's, you notice all these details in the backgrounds that even a theatrical audience in 1952 wouldn't have picked up on. It wasn't that clear.
Oh, exactly right. It was similar to Rhapsody Rabbit when he flips through the pages and he sees that picture of a woman. If you freeze that in HD, you'll definitely see some extra details, let's put it that way.
Or in Bugs Bunny and the Three Bears is another one where there's some naughty stuff on the wall. And I'm trying to think, I think Rabbit Every Monday is another one. Yosemite Sam has a rather risque calendar on his wall at one point.
Oh, for sure. But looking through the short itself, I like this nephew character, which clearly it's similar to the Sylvester Jr. type character, which, that's not a bad thing, but it definitely reminded me of that. And I just like his expressions where he's got the book in front of him and then he's listening to his uncle tell the real story of what happened, and he's just got that skeptical look. He's like, Really? Really? That kind of look?
Yeah.
The great detail there. Great
Yeah.
detail there. And I love I don't know what sort of accent the Uncle Big Bad has. Well, I mean, what would you describe his accent? Which region would that be? Like a New Yorker?
It's kind of a New York sort of thing. It's an East Coast kind of thing, definitely. It's an old time gangster sort of voice. This kind of, yeah, Mel Blanc does this a lot, and it's kind of a Jersey, kind of a New York, kind of East Coast sort of voice. Now look there, nephew.
And I love that accent, how it's in complete contrast to when he's telling the story and he's dressed up all innocent, like an innocent babe, so to speak. He's just going around saying hello this, hello that. And
Hello, nature. I love yous. Hello, bees. Hello, trees. Hello, fuzzy little caterpillar.
of course, hello caterpillar, that sounds like a dog, which I thought was pretty funny. Similar gag, by the way, that Chuck Jones would reuse for one of his 80s shorts, where Bugs Bunny's like, hello trees, hello cute little butterfly, and then the butterfly is...
Spaced Out Bunny.
That
one,
yeah,
worst
very similar.
Bugs Bunny cartoons I've ever seen. That is one where Chuck Jones should have said, you know what, I'm done.
So in other words, I'll get you on the review. I'll get you on the review of that one.
If you want me to absolutely bash and trash it, then yeah, sure, get me on that one.
For sure. But
oh my god.
But it's still there, though. It's the same sort of gag. I don't know if Chuck knew about it or if it's just coincidence. I don't know. But anyway, that's what it reminded me of, regardless.
Hello, butterfly.
Yeah? Hey, what do you mean by that, Jack? What's with this hello jazz? You want to start something? Yeah, just try it.
And, of course, I love all these little games that these obnoxious pigs like to do. Like, of course, Slingshot. You know where it's going as you watch the sequence.
Don't worry, we'll learn yous. Here, you get to use the biggest one. Just hang on to it and I'll load it for yous.
Oh.
Ready, aim, fire!
And then they reuse that same animated, I guess, color concussion shot. That's what I like to call it, the one I'm talking about. That they always seem to use.
Yeah, and in that way, it's kind of like McKimson's shorts with the cat and the hummingbird and the bulldog, Hummer Time and Early to Bet, where the dog spins the penalty wheel and they decide what game they're going to play that hurts the cat.
Yeah, exactly. These games are... I think they're great. Of course, you got the surprise one.
But I'm afraid I don't know how to play surprise.
There's nothing to it. Just put your hand behind your back. That's right. Now, when we count to 3, you can see what's in your hand. 1, 2, 3. Surprise, surprise!
And Swat the Fly is probably my favorite, just because of how just ridiculous it is. Like, how do they get him to dress up like a fly?
We was playing as usual. This time we was playing Swat the Fly. I was the fly.
Swat the fly! Swat the fly! Swat the fly! Swat the fly! Swat the fly!
And I know that scene has Rod Scribner animation. I know that for a fact.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
what?
Oh, exactly. But then we see the real meat of the story, which is pretty much in the last third, and that's, of course, they see a sign about $50 for a wolf's tail, which, by the way, I did the inflation calculator. That's about $570 in 2023 dollars. So that's US dollars, so about 10,000 in Australian dollars, given our terrible conversion rate. But no, it's about 900 Australian. Yeah, I was being silly, of course. And as soon as you see that sign, you already know what's going to happen for the rest of the short. The pigs are going to pick up on, we can make some dough here. And the rest of the short is about that. And yeah, then we get the reversal of the whole huff and puff for we'll blow your house down, where now the pigs are doing it. So nice little touch.
Yeah.
And then it just ends. Like, I feel like he could have maybe used one extra gag or like a big punchline for the flashback sequence, but I don't know.
I think it's just enough. I really do, because then, of course, you've got to wrap it up with the framing device of the wolf telling the story to his nephew. So we've got to get that going. And the pigs show up with axes and chop his house down. That's enough of an ending there.
It ties everything up nicely, but again, maybe there could be one extra thing in there, but whatever. As it is, it's fine. And I'm so glad that they didn't add a musical number because it really would have interrupted the flow, for sure. As I said, Mick Gibson definitely did the right thing there. As for a score, look, this one gets about an 8 out of 10. I think it's a solid short. It's a nice little gem. Not a standout, but hey, if it's on TV, I'll watch it and I'll definitely laugh at it. It's a pretty decent one. How would you rate this one?
I'd probably go 7.5, honestly. I think it's certainly top tier Looney Tunes. It's not terrible. It's not remarkable either. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. Not all of them are going to be absolute standouts. Some will be mid-tier like this one, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Yeah, but at least it's another one off the list, and we can say bye to the three pigs. Not going to be in any more shorts. I'll go and start crying now, because I'm not going to see these obnoxious pigs again. You know, would have been interesting to see him maybe in a short with maybe Daffy or something, but anyway, whatever. But in any case, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.
Blew my house in and made off with me tail.
Oh, Unc, what a lot of malarkey.
Does this look like malarkey? Of course, we know I lost it in the swinging door.